When shadows move through stars. The void between stars held its breath that morning, or at least that's how it seemed to Admiral Kex-9 as he stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. His 6 eyes, arranged in perfect symmetry around his elongated skull, scanned the tactical displays with practiced efficiency. The Zephyrian Empire had controlled this sector for over 3,000 cycles, and nothing ever disturbed the peace of the Outer Rim territories. That changed. In an instant. "Admiral." The communications officer's voice cracked across the bridge, his blue-tinted skin paling to an almost white hue. "We have an unknown contact. Massive energy signature approaching from the dead zone." Kex-9's primary eyes focused on the main display while his secondary pair continued monitoring fleet positions. The dead zone was exactly that. A region of space where 3 ancient supernovas had left nothing but radiation storms and twisted gravity wells. Nothing could survive passage through such chaos. "Show me," Kex-9 commanded, his voice carrying the authority of countless victories. The view screen flickered, then displayed what appeared to be impossible. A ship, no, a vessel so large it defied classification, emerged from the swirling cosmic storm like a leviathan rising from deep ocean trenches. Its hull was dark, almost black, but not the black of empty space. This was the black of forged metal, of purpose, of something built to endure the unthinkable. "Energy readings are off the charts," reported the science officer, her multiple arms dancing across control panels. "The propulsion system is unlike anything in our databases. No fusion signatures, no antimatter traces, no quantum tunneling effects. It's as if space itself is bending around it." Kex-9 felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. In 3 centuries of military service, he had encountered dozens of species, fought in scores of campaigns, and witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations. Never had he seen anything that moved through the dead zone as if it were empty space. "Hail them," he ordered. "Standard first contact protocols." The communications array sent out greetings in 47 different languages, each one a carefully crafted message of peaceful intent, mixed with implicit warnings about the consequences of hostility. The response was silence, not the silence of ignorance, but the deliberate quiet of something that heard everything and chose not to respond. Hours passed. The massive vessel continued its steady approach, never deviating from its course, never acknowledging the growing fleet of Imperial ships that had arrived to investigate. More commanders joined the watch, their faces reflecting the same mixture of curiosity and concern that gripped Kex-9. Then, without warning, the ship stopped. It hung in space exactly 100,000 kilometers from the Imperial fleet, and for the first time, it truly revealed itself. Running lights activated along its hull, illuminating designs and patterns that spoke of advanced engineering. The vessel was easily 15 kilometers long, its sleek form suggesting both grace and deadly purpose. Weapon ports were visible but not activated. Shield generators hummed with contained power. "Admiral," the communications officer whispered, "we're receiving a transmission." The bridge fell silent. Every creature present turned toward the main display as it flickered to life. The image that appeared was both familiar and shocking. A bipedal figure with pale skin, bilateral symmetry, and only 2 eyes positioned on the front of its face. Hair the color of Earth's autumn leaves framed features that were almost primitive in their simplicity. Yet there was an intelligence in those eyes that made several bridge officers step backward involuntarily. "I am Captain Elena Martinez of the Earth vessel Defiant Star," the figure said, her voice carrying through the translation matrix with crystal clarity. "We come seeking knowledge and offering friendship to all who would accept it." The name hit the bridge like a physical blow. Earth, the legendary world spoken of in ancient texts, home to the species that had vanished from galactic consciousness over 2 centuries ago. Most scholars believed they had destroyed themselves in their primitive nuclear wars. Others theorized they had simply never developed faster-than-light travel and remained trapped on their single world. Apparently, both theories were wrong. Humans, breathed the science officer, her voice filled with awe and terror in equal measure. They're supposed to be extinct. Captain Martinez continued speaking, seemingly unaware of the chaos her mere existence was causing aboard every Imperial ship. We have traveled far to reach you, driven by curiosity about what lies beyond our solar system. We wish to learn about your civilization, your culture, your hopes for the future. Kex-9 found his voice. Captain Martinez, I am Admiral Kex-9 of the Zephyrian Imperial Fleet. Your arrival has surprised us. We believed your species to be lost. A sad smile crossed the human's features. Reports of our extinction have been greatly exaggerated. We've been busy. Busy doing what? The question escaped before Kex-9 could consider diplomatic protocol. Learning. Growing. Preparing. Martinez gestured, and the tactical display aboard every Imperial ship suddenly showed technical readouts of human technology that should have been impossible to access. We've spent 200 years turning our world into something that could sustain us, then building the tools we needed to reach the stars. The journey here took 50 years, but we've arrived with gifts. The technical data streaming across Imperial computers was staggering. Power generation systems that operated at 98% efficiency. Medical technologies that could regenerate entire organs. Propulsion systems that bent space-time without the massive energy requirements of conventional FTL drives. Agricultural techniques that could feed billions using minimal resources. Why? Asked Kex-9, struggling to process the implications. Why share this with us? Because isolation breeds stagnation, Martinez replied. We've learned that growth requires challenge, and challenge requires diversity. We offer our knowledge freely to any who would use it to better the lives of their people. Across the Empire, emergency councils convened as news of the human arrival spread. Some leaders called for immediate integration and peaceful exchange. Others demanded military action against what they saw as a potential threat. The debate raged for days while the Defiant Star waited patiently at the edge of Imperial space. High Chancellor Vorth, leader of the Zephyrian Empire, finally issued his decision from the golden throne room of the capital world. His ancient form, kept alive by centuries of medical intervention, trembled with the weight of the moment. These humans bring change, he declared to the assembled court. Change brings uncertainty. Uncertainty threatens order. Order is the foundation of our empire. His 6 eyes fixed on the War Council. Prepare the fleet. If they will not leave peacefully, they will be removed by force. Aboard the Defiant Star, Captain Martinez stood in her ready room, staring out at the stars she had dreamed of reaching since childhood. Commander Sarah Chen, her tactical officer, entered with a grim expression. Captain, we're detecting massive fleet movements throughout Imperial space. Energy signatures suggest they're preparing for combat operations. Martinez nodded sadly. We knew this was a possibility. How many ships? Conservative estimate? 3,000 vessels, including their newest dreadnoughts. They're mobilizing everything they have. And we have one ship. One ship, Chen confirmed, then smiled. But what a ship. Martinez returned the smile. Indeed. Send a message to Earth. Tell them we've made contact, and we're about to show the galaxy what humanity can do when pushed too far. The Imperial fleet began its approach as the human ship powered up systems that had never been tested in actual combat. The stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the galaxy, pitting the established order against human ingenuity, Imperial might against innovative tactics. In the depths of space, the Defiant Star waited like a storm about to break. Its crew of 500 humans prepared for what might be their species' first and last battle among the stars. They had come in peace, offering gifts of knowledge and friendship. What they would deliver instead was a demonstration of why humanity had not only survived their harsh world, but had thrived enough to reach for the stars themselves. The galaxy was about to learn what humans had discovered long ago, that the greatest strength comes not from the size of your fleet or the power of your weapons, but from the refusal to surrender when fighting for something greater than yourself. Immerse. Silent thunder was about to roar. Thunder before the storm, the War Council chamber on Zephyros Prime buzzed with controlled chaos as military leaders from across the Empire gathered via holographic projection. The massive circular table accommodated beings of dozens of species, each representing worlds that had sworn allegiance to Imperial rule over the millennia. War Marshal Drex, the Empire's supreme military commander, stood at the chamber's center. His massive frame, evolved from predatory stock, commanded attention as he gestured toward the tactical display showing the human vessel. This single ship represents an existential threat to Imperial dominance, Drex declared, his voice carrying the growl of his carnivorous ancestors. Their technology surpasses ours in every measurable category. If we allow them to establish contact with other species, our authority will crumble. High Chancellor Vorth's aged form remained motionless in his throne, but his eyes betrayed calculation. What do our intelligence analysts recommend? General Thane, the Empire's strategic planning chief, activated a series of projections. Standard protocol would be overwhelming force. The humans claim to have one ship, but we must assume others are coming. A preemptive strike now prevents a larger conflict later. Across the table, Ambassador Tielka of the Vortanian Collective raised a tentative appendage. Her species had joined the Empire peacefully after witnessing Imperial military might, but they retained their diplomatic traditions. Honored Chancellor, she began carefully, perhaps we should consider the humans' offer of knowledge sharing. Their medical technologies alone could benefit trillions of Imperial citizens. Drex's laugh was harsh. Naive idealism. They offer gifts with one hand while building weapons with the other. No species develops such advanced propulsion for exploration alone. The humans have made no aggressive moves, Tielka pressed. They've remained at the system's edge, making no attempt to penetrate our defenses or gather intelligence. Because they don't need to, General Thane interjected. Their scanning technology penetrated our most secure networks within hours of arrival. They know everything about our fleet compositions, defensive positions, and strategic resources. The debate continued for hours, but the outcome was predetermined. The Empire had built its power on military supremacy and the fear it generated. Any challenge to that supremacy, no matter how peaceful, represented unacceptable risk. Meanwhile, aboard the Defiant Star, Captain Martinez walked through corridors that hummed with quiet efficiency. The ship's design reflected humanity's practical approach to space travel. Every surface had a purpose, every system had backups, and every crew member understood their role in the larger mission. She found Dr. Lisa Park in the science lab, analyzing data streams from Imperial space. Park was one of Earth's finest xenobiologists, recruited for the mission specifically to facilitate first contact with alien species. Any luck with the translation protocols? Martinez asked. Park looked up from her workstation, exhaustion evident in her features. I've identified 43 distinct species within their communication networks. The linguistic diversity is incredible, but there's something else. She paused, choosing her words carefully. Fear patterns in their transmissions suggest many species didn't join the Empire voluntarily. Martinez nodded grimly. Conquest disguised as protection. We've seen that pattern before. Captain, General Marcus Webb's voice echoed through the ship's communication system. You're needed in the tactical center. Martinez made her way to the ship's command center, where Webb stood before a three-dimensional display of local space. As Earth's former head of planetary defense, Webb had volunteered for the mission to ensure humanity could defend itself if peaceful contact failed. They're coming, Webb announced without preamble. 3,000 ships, arranged in standard Imperial battle formation. They'll be in weapons range in 6 hours. Recommendations? Webb's smile held no humor. We give them exactly what they expect, then show them why that's a mistake. The Imperial fleet approached with the confidence of centuries of unchallenged dominance. War Marshal Drex commanded from the bridge of the dreadnought Infinite Glory, its weapon systems charged and ready. Around him, hundreds of lesser vessels maintained perfect formation, their combined firepower capable of sterilizing entire worlds. Open a channel to the human vessel, Drex commanded. The view screen activated, showing Captain Martinez on her bridge. She appeared calm, almost relaxed, despite facing overwhelming odds. Captain Martinez, Drex began, his voice carrying the weight of Imperial authority. You will surrender your vessel and submit to Imperial custody. Your technology will be evaluated and integrated into our defensive systems. Compliance will result in humane treatment. Resistance will result in destruction. Martinez smiled, and something in that expression made several Imperial officers shift uncomfortably. War Marshal Drex, we appreciate your directness. However, we must respectfully decline your generous offer. You face 3,000 ships with advanced weaponry. Your single vessel, regardless of its technological advantages, cannot survive sustained bombardment. You're absolutely right, Martinez agreed. One ship cannot defeat 3,000 in conventional combat. Drex's predatory instincts sensed a trap, but Imperial doctrine demanded overwhelming force. Final warning, Captain. Surrender or be destroyed. Marshal, Martinez replied, her voice carrying a strange note of sympathy. You're about to learn why humanity survived long enough to reach the stars. The transmission ended, and the Imperial fleet began its attack run. Energy weapons charged, missile tubes loaded, and commanders across the fleet prepared for what should have been a brief, decisive engagement. The Defiant Star waited until the fleet was committed to its approach, then simply vanished. Not destroyed, vanished. Every sensor in the Imperial fleet registered the same impossible reading. The human ship had ceased to exist on every detectable frequency. No energy signature, no mass displacement, no quantum resonance. Where a 15-kilometer vessel had floated moments before, there was only empty space. Report! Drex roared at his bridge crew. Unknown, sir. All scanning frequencies show negative. The ship is simply gone. The answer came 60 seconds later when the Defiant Star reappeared directly in the center of the Imperial formation, not moving toward it, already there, as if it had been transported by some technology beyond Imperial understanding. But the humans weren't attacking. Instead, they were broadcasting on every frequency simultaneously, their message reaching, not just the fleet but every inhabited world within 50 light-years. Citizens of the galaxy, Captain Martinez's voice carried across space. We are humanity, children of Earth, and we bring greetings from beyond the void. We have traveled far to meet you, driven by curiosity and hope for friendship among the stars. Aboard the Infinite Glory, Drex screamed orders for immediate attack, but his weapons officers reported a disturbing problem. Every targeting system in the fleet had been quietly disabled. Not destroyed, not damaged, simply turned off by some external influence. Martinez continued her broadcast. We know that many of you live under systems that may not represent your freely given consent. We offer alternatives. Our ship carries technologies that could transform your worlds, unlimited clean energy, medical advances that could extend healthy life by centuries, agricultural techniques that could end hunger forever. Across Imperial space, populations that had lived under authoritarian rule for generations heard the human message. On factory worlds where beings toiled in dangerous conditions, workers paused to listen. On agricultural planets where entire species served as laborers, farmers looked up at the stars with new hope. We ask nothing in return except the chance to learn from you, as we hope you might learn from us. Knowledge belongs to all thinking beings, not just those with the power to hoard it. The political implications hit the Imperial leadership like a physical blow. If the humans could deliver on their promises of technological advancement freely shared, the entire basis of Imperial control would crumble. Loyalty based on fear and scarcity could not compete with voluntary cooperation and abundance. War Marshal Drex made a decision that would haunt him forever. All ships ramming speed, collision course with the human vessel. If we cannot destroy them with weapons, we will destroy them with mass. The Imperial fleet surged forward in a desperate attempt to physically overwhelm the Defiant Star. It was a tactic born of desperation and fear, but it represented the Empire's last chance to maintain control. The humans responded with another impossibility. The defiant star began to replicate itself, not holographically, not through illusion but actual physical duplication. One ship became 2, then 4, then 8. Each duplicate was solid, real, and fully functional. Within minutes, the Imperial fleet found itself surrounded by dozens of human vessels, each one identical to the original. But still, the humans did not attack. Instead, they began broadcasting detailed technical specifications for their technologies, openly sharing the knowledge that could revolutionize galactic civilization. Power generation, medical advancement, agricultural efficiency, materials science. Humanity offered it all freely to any species willing to work toward a better future. Across the galaxy, the response was immediate and overwhelming. Peaceful. Species that had chafed under Imperial rule began reaching out to the humans. Scientists requested collaboration. Worlds that had struggled with resource scarcity saw hope for the first time in generations. Ambassador TLK, watching events unfold from the safety of her diplomatic vessel, sent a message to both fleets. This conflict serves no one. The humans offer what the Empire has always promised but never delivered: genuine prosperity and freedom. Perhaps it is time to choose cooperation over domination. Her words carried weight among Imperial moderates, and within hours, dozens of worlds had declared their intention to withdraw from the Empire and seek direct relations with humanity. The confrontation that had begun as a test of military might had become something far more significant: a referendum on the future of galactic civilization. As War Marshal Drex watched his carefully planned attack dissolve into chaos, he finally understood what Captain Martinez had tried to tell him. Humanity had not survived by being the strongest or the most numerous. They had survived by being the most adaptable, the most innovative, and the most willing to share their strength with others. The silent thunder had become a song of hope that echoed across the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. The Age of Empire was ending. The Age of Cooperation had begun, and at its heart stood humanity, not as conquerors but as teachers, showing the galaxy that true strength comes not from the power to destroy, but from the wisdom to build something better.